This was a play. I think it was second and 13 or second and 14. The first play was stuffed 3 or 4 yards behind the line of scrimmage, and you could see the difference if you go back to if you remember last week and his ball to Mims that was out of bounds and to the back shoulder, and this ball which is leading Mims vertically, and actually, and we'll go through the first he drops back. I'm assuming he reads middle, reads the left side of the field. When he reads the left side of the field, they're running another one of these these spin type concepts they do where you have the dig over top of the sit, the choice route. He sees this linebacker getting some depth, and he wants to pick up some yards, obviously, because it is second and a bit here. So he wants to take that shot, which I'm completely okay with. So he skips on this, sees Mims isolated to the field side right here, and decides to take a shot. And again, it's another situation where when he's going to load up this ball, he's seeing Mims with room to the sideline and be about even. So he takes that shot deep. It's very good accuracy. And I think he expects Mims to get off a little bit cleaner than he does here. We can see there's some contact slowing Mims down. And there's some re-acceleration. You can see it doesn't look like he's running full speed right there. And Wilson really can't put this in a better spot. Like you say, oh, put it to the outside shoulder, all that stuff. But it is pretty much a perfect ball. Unfortunately, again, Mims gets slowed down by some contact. And even at the end of the day, he dives for it. And he does get, it looks like he gets two hands on it. So it's a ball that ideally you want to see him bring in. Now, is this an easy ball to bring in? Absolutely not. It is obviously very, very difficult. But at the end of the day, it does hit him in both hands. This is a very, very, very tough catch to be able to actually be able to pull this in and then not have it bounce off the turf. But still, very good ball from Wilson as compared to last week, where again, it was a pretty clear miss. And if Mims was to get off a little bit cleaner here, he's probably able to get under that ball and have a huge completion for Zach Wilson and the offense. So I love the decision by Wilson here. And again, the accuracy, it was great. This was something that in just in his NFL career, he's not necessarily the best vertical ball thrower. It's not always on target. It's not always leading guys. You see guys have to slow up for it. Not to say he doesn't have the arm for it, but there's definitely he definitely doesn't have and this is not necessarily the best comparison this year, but he doesn't have a Russell Wilson-esque deep ball where it kind of just floats in perfectly to a guy in stride at the perfect angle. But really like this play from Wilson here. And again, really couldn't walk it into a much better spot. Unfortunately, the ball is not completed, but a good start to the game for Zach Wilson. And again, this is one of those things where it's like, process versus results. The process was good. The result, it wasn't caught, but still, definitely a play that I appreciate from Zach Wilson. Now next, let's see, play 11, Wilson RPO, and we'll talk about LaFleur in a little bit, but credit to LaFleur this game, getting Wilson in rhythm, more RPOs, more short passes. There was 1,000% less deep concepts, where the Jets are big on, they're big on sail and flood and dagger and crease and pull. Like, just thinking about some of the deeper concepts they feature in their playbook. This was a lot more, RPOs, glances over the middle, panther, double slants, a lot more, I think there's like a stick concept in there. Maybe there's like a spot concept. There's a lot more short in this game. So with that being said, Wilson RPO out of what is 12 personnel right here. Let's see. Again, just decisiveness, and listen, you could stop RPO. There are obviously ways to stop it, but Wilson was decisive, and this is a way to get him in rhythm. I'm not saying you have to do this all the time here, but they run RPO where they have counter OF right there. And Wilson is reading this linebacker, this like the apex right here. If the apex fills in the box, then he throws it to Garrett Wilson. He reads the apex. He sees that he vacates that zone, which will make Garrett Wilson open. Delivers to him in quickly on his body, which is the only place you can ask it for it to be, and it's a good play right off the jump. Good deep ball, good throw there to Garrett Wilson. Again, very, very simple by by Wilson, but these are the easy throws you need to make. And these are easy throws that last year he wasn't necessarily hitting. And by the way, good blocking by the Jets offensive front right here, because if this ball is handed off, it might be a big gain anyway. So good play right off the jump, but it's obviously the correct read by Wilson, who's reading that apex right there. And if he pinches down, throw it to Garrett. And look, at the end of the day, it's boring here because you're only getting 5 or 6 yards, wherever that was. But 5 or 6 yards on first down is keeping you ahead of the sticks. Like, that's exactly what you want to do. So good throw by Wilson right there. Next play, 17, Wilson arm angle. Let's expand this. Hopefully it's a little bit bigger for you guys if I expand it like that. I think it is. Wilson arm angle. All right, let's see. 11 personnel again. Of course, with the condensed formation, the Jets love to do that. And it's create natural rubs and picks, and it shows coverages and things like that. Sometimes it doesn't work as well for you because it brings more guys into the box. It's easier to disguise blitzes, things like that. There's disadvantages and advantages to everything, but this is another RPO by the Jets, which again you're seeing more of. Which again, getting Wilson in rhythm, getting him in RPO situations where it's a quick 1 to 2 reads is good for him. Now, can you do that all the time? No, not necessarily. But I would like to see it incorporated more than it was. And in this game it was. And then eventually you get him in rhythm. Then you start hitting those deep naked bootlegs, deeper shots in the game once his confidence gets up a little bit. And we'll see him hit a really nice dig route later in the game. The ball was incomplete, but nonetheless, you look at the Broncos game where maybe he's a little bit antsy to start the game. He misses Corey Davis on a dig, who's pretty much wide open, or at least open, NFL open, misses him by 10 yards. And this throw to whoever it was, he couldn't walk it into a better spot, in a really tight window. So when he's confident, it's a great thing. So get him rolling early. And here we're seeing, and we'll see what the RPO is exactly, what he's reading. I don't know if he's reading this corner right here, who he's expecting the blitz, who he's leaning a little bit inside, or if he's reading one of the linebackers. But nonetheless, they run this this spacing concept right here, and he has to adjust his arm angle as this defender drops down on that blitz. He doesn't necessarily want to throw it overhand because that's where the defender is expecting the arm angle to be at, and he probably get his hands up for it, even though I don't think he necessarily even gets his hands up. But it's a hell of a job by Wilson preparing for him to get his hands up right there, and then again adjusting that arm angle and getting it to Garrett Wilson, who he has to adjust to the ball. This is a ball you should catch 10 times out of 10. Garrett Wilson does. Hell of a play by Wilson. Again, just letting his natural ability take over. Like he can throw the ball in crazy ways. One of the quicker releases in the NFL. So he has all the physical tools to be a successful quarterback. But if he can just catch up his mental, we're talking about a good quarterback. But obviously, started off the year sketchy in the first 3 quarters against the Steelers. Dolphins game again. I really like that game from him overall, regardless of what the stats say. But you follow that up with bad games against the Packers, Broncos, and it's obviously a terrible game against the Pats. Even if he had a few positive plays, those three mistakes are really 2 of the interceptions were absolutely brutal. The Ty Johnson one, you understand a little bit, but really good job by Wilson here. Now, in terms of the read, typically you read a linebacker on these types of plays, but just based on 3 being over 2 here, maybe he's expecting a blitz, and he's reading the blitz, so that's where his eyes goes. And with that, if this defender is to blitz, obviously you have a concept, which is a shorter concept. You have one guy deep, who is going to have to take one of the shorter routes, and one of them should be open. Now, at the end of the day, if he was to play the outside guy and he matched the flat right there, or sorry, if they were to play this almost like a banjo, and he was to take the first to the flat, and he was to take the first inside, this would be picked up pretty well. They obviously don't have that banjo call. They don't execute it properly, and you have Garrett Wilson, who's wide open on the sit, and is the ball is completed to him for what I believe is near a first down. Yeah, it's near a first down. But Again, good decision by Wilson. I'm not necessarily sure 100% what his read is there. Maybe it is initially the linebacker who he sees sitting inside as the ball is snapped, and then his eyes get to the blitz from 7 right there. And again, just quick plant, arm angle, obviously clearly adjusted. That's not a normal throwing motion in any sense of the word. But again, it comes wide of the defender who would expect a normal arm slot for the ball to be pretty much right over his head, and it comes obviously to the defender's left side. So hell of a job by Wilson again, being quick, being decisive, taking advantage of his natural ability to get the ball out as he does right there. Wilson to Garrett Wilson. Let's see, and obviously Garrett Wilson is going to be in the good players from this game, but there's a lot that's involved with one Zach Wilson, so he has less plays later. So just pay attention to how well he's playing here as well. So Garrett Wilson is to the top right here. Let's see. Again, just decisiveness by Wilson here, who again, easy concept. Like we're talking about double slants here. You read 1 to 2. That's all it is. It's very, very simple. Wilson's gonna drop back. As he drops back, he's seeing a slant versus zone coverage with an inside defender. It's not going to be open, at least initially. Now, could he sneak behind this guy? Sure. But again, get off that read pretty quickly. And then he goes immediately to Garrett Wilson, who's facing off coverage. This guy's sitting inside. There should be a window here. Wilson recognizes that, fires a ball quickly. Now, I don't necessarily know why Garrett Wilson stops right there. And whether it be a slant or an in, it works the same way in terms of the read. You'd like to see him continue that route, and Wilson fires the ball, leading him like he were to continue his route inside. So that's why it looks like it's a little bit off. But that's more of a miscommunication timing type thing between receiver and quarterback than it is Wilson being inaccurate there, because again, I think he expected Garrett Wilson to flatten out and continue to the inside and try to hit him in stride to the inside. But nice job by Garrett Wilson adjusting to that ball, finding it, catching it, and again getting near first down there. But Wilson, quick, decisive, feet aren't he's not panicky with his feet. Now, do I want to see again better mechanics? Yes, but that's something that he's not. He hasn't had good mechanics in terms of his lower body since college. It's not a thing that just developed now. That's 100% there. Go watch the reviews. He has pretty similar mechanics, but we talk about it a lot, and I don't want to harp on it because he hit the pass pretty much perfectly. Couldn't really put it in a better spot. Again, it's a little bit in front of him, but that's because I think he expected Garrett Wilson to continue, but you want this foot to be a little bit more pointed. You want to see, a little bit more step over instead of kick back. I don't think it locks out that front leg because let's see if it does. Actually, it might. It does initially, but when you're not as extended, there's more room for the knee to kind of bend, or there's more knee bend when you're shorter like that. So it's not going to lock out as quick. But nonetheless, it's good location. It's a good read. And is it anything crazy? No, but it's something that he wasn't necessarily executing last week, So there's times where he's obviously holding to the ball a little bit too long. That the number 2 read would have been open, but we need decisive Wilson who trusts his eyes, and that was decisive Wilson, and this has been decisive Wilson so far this game. So Wilson pre-snap conk. Okay, Conklin is attached right here.